All right, welcome back to Soul Spark Tarot. I'm your host, Mr. Renew, my bad. And today we got a little extra reading. Really what it is I just wanted to, instead of thinking, I wanted to talk it out. And then I was like, oh, instead of just talking it out, you should write it out. And I was like, yeah, good idea, me. And then I said, oh, instead of writing it out, let's do some cards and whatever needs to be written, let's write that. And I was like, oh, yeah. And another part of me was like, just talk. So I'm going to try to, appease the multiple egos and express all of these ideas because I feel like these ideas will pop up as we go through. And things I wanted to talk about, there's a lot of realizations. I just said a whole bunch of things about who I used to be, kind of thing. Like, that shit just came out of me. And I'm like, damn, I've said these things, but I've never thought about these things. And these are the things that, a part of me remembers. I was just doing some visualization and meditation. And these are the, revelations, I guess. But, yeah. I want to see if any of these things resonate with y'all. That's it. I just want to see if who is on the same page. Here's one of the topics. Always, I enjoy talking about time. Time. I like talking about time because people say time doesn't exist, and it's crazy as fuck. That's the craziest, most obviously wrong statement I think anybody could ever make about anything. Like, damn near anything. Like, how in the heck can there not be time? What? Like, do you what? Oh, man, what? I don't get it. So, I don't understand it. Maybe somebody can help a brother out, like poor man's podcast would say. But I don't really know. I don't really get it. And the only reason why I'm able to grow and change is because I've done things over time. I've done things over time. That's how I know the difference. And it's crazy because the difference is really the key. One of my favorite things to teach when I was an 8th grade teacher was y-intercept, slope-intercept, the constant rate of change relative to change. Because it's right there in front of us. It's like a concept that you can teach a 6th grader, right? Concept Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Pentacles. I think these was the last two cards to come out. I think it was the Wheel of Fortune with the Ace of Pentacles. So this is like a continuation of the reading from earlier today. So I'm gonna connect that shit, and then yeah. Wheel of Fortune. Time. I think time is pivotal to understand, because it's not about, I don't want to sound like super pretentious or anything, but there's a part of the world where it operates through, perfections and imperfections, good things, bad things, positives, negatives. There's a thing that does this dynamic of two. And a lot of people, I don't know why, because, when I was a kid, I really didn't see things as just one thing, and I don't know. I guess I used to always talk that shit, speak up and, be saying things. And I don't know. A lot of things didn't really turn out right for me. I used to get my ass whooped. And I really didn't understand. Nobody would actually talk. Nobody would explain shit. They would just like do things. Yeah, what, nigga? Again, but the weird thing to me is they see me being different, so they gonna talk to me the same. What the fuck? I don't understand that. I don't get that. Clearly, like what I'm talking about is like inner child work. So that this is one of the revelations when I was doing my little meditation visualization. It was, the understanding of time and a couple other things. But time is always the main thing because these feelings and words, it's not really a feeling. It's like a release. That's what it's feeling like. So I don't know. When you do breath work or exercise, you exhale, and sometimes that exhale feel different. And if you don't know that different feeling, like if you can't find a difference, or if you can't discuss it or detail it or do anything like that, like you don't really understand what you're doing yet. Like you don't really get it. You don't really get it. It should be clear if you understand using your body. It should be clear when like you understand the different levels or the different scales upon a single thing. So you're literally causing something to become more than one thing at once. Because you had, like, let's say, an experience, I don't know, everybody in high school has heard of the mile. So if you ever went to high school or maybe even middle school, you've heard of a mile, and at some point in time, there's a thing called a mile or a kilometer. Either or. And if we have both of these things, they're objects. But at one point in time, these things were just constructs. It's still considered to be a noun. So because it's still considered to be a noun, people consider it as the same as other nouns. But that to me, I think that's kind of crazy. When I first realized this, because this is something I can't understand. There's a point in time where I didn't get what I just said. But when I've been teaching it for so long and understanding, a lot of people actually fuck up with grammar because they don't understand parts of speech as well as they think they do. This is the key. The words are telling you exactly what they're talking about. A noun is a N-O-W. Now it's semantics, right? Now, to me, this is teaching the kid off the gate program, and one is looking at the space, and then the other is looking at the word or the riddle aspect to it. If I have the riddle, and I'm giving you clues about where this thing is found, then you can start to connect the two. And you'll realize that everything has at least 9 different connections. Sometimes we don't understand them, sometimes they're not available to us right now. But the idea is N-O-U-N, noun, person, place, thing, quality, condition, or state of being. Those things are also a N-O-W. So it is a present moment, and that is what it's referring to. Also, it's multi-layered because, again, noun is a term that is multi-layered. Notice I did 2 different actions. One is on the x-axis, one is on the y-axis. Like, it's just relationships. And this is slope. That's why I brought that up. Again, slope or y-intercept, y equals mx plus b. Rate of change, m, delta y over delta x. It is these things that, again, we get it. We get this shit. But when I bring the words, people will be like, man, what the fuck are you talking about? But you do what I'm saying. So, again, that's the cool thing about the time. Like, over time, you start to realize words are real. Like, there are certain terms and words that people use that have an objectivity that most like people cannot refute. And it's crazy because we can question if what we're seeing and understanding is true or not. We can question that, but we all understand what we're referring to objectively when we use, let's say, a common term, like, dog. People will say, oh, well, you got to understand and expand beyond the term just dog, right? And then you can get into a new category, is what we can say. But it takes time to go from this thing to specifically, even inside of an in group, it's specifically this thing, and then get broader. That's like saying this wolf is a dog. I mean, really, why is it a wolf and why is it a dog then? Like, why are there two different things? Why is there an X and why is there a Y if they're the same? So when we have to understand that if we're going to look at two different things, we have to understand that it's one thing some kind of way. The some kind of way is where we fall into these issues, but the some kind of way is the beautiful thing about slope, the rate of change. It is giving you how often or how frequently things are changing. The rate of change, man, it's just things that are happening. So, if you understand the rate of change, then you can start to understand how things are changing across the line. But the cool thing about lines is you can make lines out of anything. The space will curve around your line. That's crazy. It's crazy, but it's true because at the end of the day, any kind of transversal has to be transversing something. Again, the thing called noun can also be applied in a present tense or in a potential present tense across a certain point. That's, again, we're still using the same word, transverse in that case, but it's just a noun. Why? Because it's a state of being, because people will say, well, that's a verb. But a verb can be a state of being. So because you are being yourself, because you are being you, okay, you can be more than what like people see you to be. It's really what you choose. This is the justice of your life. I think that's what, like, again, what I love talking like this shit, bro, because I'm bringing myself justice. I'm talking about the reasons why. So I'm looking at why I, feel certain ways. And this is exactly the case. I've been tempering myself. I've been really trying, man. And it's like definitely been neglecting other things. And I even got sick, you can say, under the weather. But it's just like I heard reminders. And it's good because it's like a good real change doesn't happen in a snap. The inspiration, the cause, the motivation, the seed, the incubation, the conception, the genesis, the whatever. The debate. This is how you understand it. The most closely related thing is like when you're looking at your baby, right? You know how to say mama, know how to say daddy, and then all of a sudden come out and be like, doggy. Nigga, what did you just say? Did you just say doggy and point to the dog? And that motherfucking dog is here? What just happened? You just showed me that you were learning? Showed me that you can do something without me? Showed me that you were outside of my understanding, my space? Yep, that's just, again, that's a line exceeding a boundary. That's it. So you can put any line across anything. This line that I'm referring to is simply the line of time. And time is the only thing that is existing because let's say we are on a rocket ship, right? Or I can be less. I'll jump to rocket ship because the idea is moving at the speed of light, being a light code. But jump into a bus. If you're not here and you're not there, where the fuck are you? If If you're not here and you're not there, where are you? Don't matter to me because you're somewhere. Again, I know these are super simple, like dynamics, but these things are very important. Just like it's super simple to understand, you should see the world as a tic-tac-toe, a nine-dimensional space. You should see it as that. There's more. You can teach yourself to see details, but the idea is you should at least be able to, like, each eye should be able to see 9 different points of space. That'll give you 81 different reference points, 81 points that you could detail out and put your attention towards. But you have to make the change. You have to make the decision. You got to call to justice on the time that you're giving attention to certain things. You have to bring it. You have to actually understand the time. And for me, based upon the videos earlier, I've been looking at a lot of different aspects of time for a long time because I was already looking at this shit. I didn't realize it. And then I had enough time to conceive and understand what was happening. And then I was able to see it even further because there was things that I was recalling from when I was a child, and it was allowing things to fit into place in different ways that I couldn't consider, which means that shit was probably inconsiderable. So that is a like random variable outside of boundary. We can't consider that shit. It's not even in here. Again, it's very simple. Your bus can't understand overcapacity, even when you're over capacity. No, there's a bigger level. There's like some World War Z kind of thing where like a whole town's worth of zombies is on a double-decker bus. Like, it's some crazy stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. So, knowing that it can have these magnitudes, that's what we're referring to, just different sizes, those are things that happen everywhere. And because, again, the math, to me, this is what I find fascinating about the math. The math formula, it's showing you that this shit happens. It doesn't give you a time. Cool as fuck to me. It doesn't give you a time. No matter what time it is, the slope works. That's crazy because what are you looking at? What is slope? Slope is the change between things. And it's a change between things relative to something else. We're saying X and Y is relative. They're equal in some kind of way, in other words. So how are they equal in some kind of way? Well, if you got a 4/5, then they're equal with 4 going on the Y and 5 going on the X. But what the fuck does those things mean in real life? Well, get to some word problems, Mr. Henson. All right, some word problems tell you things like... Sorry. Damn, I was going crazy. Damn. Oh, stop. Whoa, whoa. That was funny. So, let me slow the fuck down. Let me slow down. Oh man, and that's so funny because I just had the thought that crossed my mind. Like, what if I was thinking I was going so fast and I played back and I'm talking extra slow? Oh shit. So, I guess that was a cause for an example of the change in time versus an explanation. So it's funny how I came back with that after laughing like a motherfucker. That shit was funny. But I remember as a person talking right now, and a person who just laughed with y'all, and as a person who was like, hold up. And then as a person who was just yapping and going and Just talking like a motherfucker, just gave his own fucking dialogue. Give us a word problem, Mr. Henson. What, nigga? Huh? Hold on. Did I just boost myself to keep going? Slow down. Slow down. Whew, shit. But I'm sure y'all can see the change, right? So that's what slope is. Slope is documenting the change from point to point. So now you should realize that we got 3 different points. You got the point where I was just like, to me, endlessly yapping. That's the first dimension, bro. I was in there. I didn't even realize it. Then I gained consciousness, right? Boom, now we're in the second dimension. And now I'm like, shit, bro. Did I just talk for me as another person? Oh, man. What if there's difference? What if there's difference? In the movie, this guy says, won't they then I am a genius. See how I transform this old rat into the most delightful hat. And then Jack comes over and is like, nah, don't use a rat as a hat. Use a bat. And it was like, okay, at the end of the day, it's just the same thing. They're just transforming the rodent as the object, you know? And the funny thing is, that's what the rhyming word is. Changing the letter kept the sound. And this variation is what we call change. That is slope. Rat, hat, bat, cat, sat. Like that rhyme that we're referring to, that is the slope. That is the change, the change, the change, the change. And guess what? That is the change over a period of time. And this is where we introduce a new element, saying that one thing is 2, but then there could be a third. The rat in the hat, the bat could be a hat. So it's one thing that can go and talk to 2 different things. The hat can talk to the bat, and the hat can talk to the rat. This, in this understanding, this is what we call M. The letter M in this equation of slope that I'm talking about can talk to the Y, and it can talk to the X. It can talk to what you're doing, and then it can talk to why you're doing it, right? And then it can see in between according to some time. That's it. It's crazy because at this point in time, you can go and rewind the video to another point in time, right? And I'm still going to be telling you how you can do it again, even if I didn't tell you you can do it again, because now you can see that you can keep doing it again until there's no video to do it again. But you understand that there's a again before the video began, so you can keep on going, begin and begin, and guess what? It's still one linear aspect of time. That's just one pathway of time. All that is just going backwards in time in accordance to this one thing, and that is this video happening as we speak. So it's creating 2 things at once. It's doing 2 things at once. Ashy ass elbow with a not ashy arm. 2 things at once. Like 2 things. So that is the cool thing about it. Oh, look, High Priestess come out. That's 2 things. I can see you, and I can see in between you, you know, some fucking Bakugan shit. This is some Naruto information. Go get some information from Naruto, people. Go do it. Yeah. Nah, for real though. That shit has a lot of dynamics, and understanding of the world that really actually will be happening. And guess what? You just gotta go do it, understand it, try it, and apply it in the proper sense, and that shit will really help your life, man. Just like anything else that's inspirational. Guess what? It's just telling you what parts it's inspiring, because it's giving you the guide to go help yourself. Just like all the other animes, Baki, fucking Dragon Ball Z, anything that teaches you like be disciplined, have faith, be happy, grow and change, understandable, I get that value, hard decision made, all of that shit. It's like giving yourself repetitions or what they call mental reps in the sport world. So look at me, I'm beginning to go into that rant phase again. Oh, look at the time. Beep, 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 beep. Look at that, look at that. I caught myself realizing some shit I caught myself on again. So guess what? What did I do? I blend it in. I make a two thing. Instead of one thing, I got a thing called a two thing. And now I can go one and one and one and one, or I can say 2 and 4 and 6 and 8. I can change. I can do the difference. Man, I just went through so many different fucking accents. What the hell is going on? But it's the change. It's the change. It's the change. Oh, I just saw the 5 of... I just saw the 5 of swords, which is Jack fighting the devil. And then I saw the devil card, and now I see the 10 of needles, and then the world just fell. So, oh yeah. Fight your demons, baby. This is how you do it. Bring them up, let them come out, understand. Oh, bro, you ain't harming me. You're an asset to me. Oh, putting your ass to work over here. Putting me to work? Yes. You gotta put your energies to work, especially the stubborn ones. Put their ass to work. It might not come out in the way that they thought, which is the key. Guess what? They want to do a certain thing. A certain thought want to hold you back a certain way. But if you use that as a reference point and then you just do something else, then you can look at the changes. Again, slope. This is what we call the M equation. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I think that's been like 7 minutes or some shit. Let's talk about it. I'm going to write all of this down for y'all. Look, I knew the pad was going to come out. So, M. What is M? M is the number you multiply by. It's what we call your rate. M is your rate. But what is it the rate of? Well, most of y'all don't understand what the word rate means. The rate it refers to not a ratio. A ratio is a rate with a unit on it. It's a rate with words. Man, I just really, I didn't have this answered for me when I was a kid. And, you know, as an adult who had to teach the math, you know, that's one of the first things I went and found and made sure. I'm like, what the fuck is the difference? Nobody can tell me the difference. And that's what I summed it up as after reading and doing it and understanding it for a while. A ratio is a rate with words. So a rate is just a relationship. A rate is just a relationship. But what does that mean? But again, a lot of people don't understand the word relationship. The relationship or anything with the re is again. That's what you got to understand. Anything with the re means again. But what is a re? Well, it's a ray. Notice, same thing, I apply the change, the slope, and now we can look at the difference between what we call enunciation, which is a temporal thing. It's a time thing. At some point in time, I have never once called it a re. And then, soon as I'm bringing in this new word called re, meaning again, I'll be like, oh, but it's also called a ray. And now it's like, boom, I'm loading you up with not one piece of information, but two things at, say it with me now, one time. Two things at one time. And so because it's a double the rate now, we can look at the difference between the first time and the second time. Even though we have 3 different blocks of time, we have to see that they're not relating that way. They're relating not at the top, but at the time, which is not the bottom. Again, I said it that way because, again, most people think in opposites, but here's an opposite to your opposite now. What you gonna do? You're a vector. You're stuck in the middle. You got an idea going this way and an idea going that way. Because you have two separate ideas, the swords card, the tools cards, the decision cards, the juggle card, two of cups exchange card, these are the things that we're understanding through the math. And again, we're just using 1 and 2, but all of these things are referring to change. The fact that we got a thing called 1 and the fact that we got a thing called 2, those are the things that's helping us understand change or difference. And that's the difference means, what is the difference? That is all. There is an infinitude of differences. It's crazy how people are afraid to say, oh, they just want to divide us up. Well, division is made up of differences. When you put enough divisions together, that doesn't change the difference. The differences are just the differences. But when you put boundaries on those differences, you get divisions. And guess what? This is, again, all of this is time. I was about to say, this is cool as fuck to me. That's what I was going to say. It's cool as fuck to me. But, again, it's just an expression of time. I'm thinking of somebody right now. This person would understand this. I think this would help this person. This person understands because this person is a performer. If this person is performing, they can understand the first time they performed versus the second time they performed versus the maybe 10th time versus like then and now. And guess what? It's one thing still. It's still just one thing, performance, but because we're talking about different noun spaces. Again, when I first did it versus 10 years versus whatever it was before and whatever is after. Those are different time frame expressions. And some of those things have spaces that do not exist. Like the fact that this person is not 80. But again, at some point in time, those things created, even during the very first experience, those first experiences will have grown into 80 at some point in time. But right now, it might be 12 or something. So the idea is, even when something changes, the rate at which it changes is what we're referring to. So if it only changes once, then we call that an outlier. And that outlier could have significance or not. But it doesn't change the fact that even if you realize something when you're 40, that doesn't change the fact that something might happen again at 80. Or it might not. We gotta wait until we get there. Time. Why do we have to wait? Again, we didn't. We anticipated. We predicted. We projected and predicted. We are able to give ourselves bonus time, extra time, positive time. How in the world can we do that? The same way you can do the negative time. So if you can think about things in the past, well, then you can try to think of things in the past again, but with a different outcome called the future. That's all. That's it. Again, it's because everything is the same. Why is everything the same? Because, again, the only thing that is happening is change. Why? Because you're saying everything is related to Y. And at some point, the relationship means that they're equal. If I got a 5 over 6, and then if I multiply by 6 over 5, you got to understand that's two ways to show you one thing. That's it. And guess what? That equals 30 over 30, or that'll equal the number 1. Tower moment for you. Boom. It's very simple because, again, we call it Y2, the second coming, and the difference between the first coming equals the change in the coming. Y. And that's relative to just the coming. X. which is the first coming or the second coming and the difference between the first. That's it. Same exact dynamic. It's just moving over a space. But we're calling this space a something, so that something has to have a time. It has to have been born, and then it has to have died. But the depth of what is born does not exist in all worlds. It only exists on a time. It's just little basic stuff, baby. It's just, I told somebody today, which I was pretty happy about because I've been expressing myself. I told this person, hey, look, I think that this here is a good thing. And the good things, I'm forgetting. Sorry, feel dark. The, the good things, they're coming from expressing these things from different times. Damn, that's crazy. I just changed because all this energy just changed. So, what is changing? I helped this lady who always helped me out, pretty much. And when I would really understand what I do, I'll be bringing, different perspectives to these times. Now, I don't think that I do it in a way that I think I do. And guess what? The only reason why I think about that in that manner is somebody said with me now, give me them 2 words. Oh, give me 1 word for it. Just give me 1 word for it. Time. And anyways, change is inevitable. And because of that, that means at some point in time, there is the change. And that's what it is. At some point in time, there's a change. And it's cool because there's people who know a lot more math than me, but I learned the math that I know in 2 ways. And if I took the time to go learn the technical way, I think that would be a waste of my time if I just took it in a linear path. I'd rather learn the shit that I need to know when I need to know the shit because I remember it and I remember the functionality behind it, even though if I just can't computate it. But again, that just shows me that I got pieces that are memories or remnants of before. In other words, when I've had my first performance, I dropped everything but the fact that I knew I did this good, and I did this good, and I did this bad, so I should fix that. I remember the things that I learned from that situation, right? That is the key. Again, your present to yourself, the idea of me even talking about time is because I wanted to yap, but again, at the time, I was like, no, it's better to hear yourself. And so, boom, I'm seeing how me getting on here is helping to reveal and release and then be okay with the anxieties of life for a lot of people right now. And a lot of people are listening in on this for the first time, and some of them probably not even realizing how the hell did they get to this point. And I'm sure we're in this for like a good solid like 40 minutes or something or more. So it's cool because if you are listening, I mean, essentially this is a podcast episode, and I have Soul Spark Radio, which is kind of what I'm doing now, but normally we would have music behind it and I'll be singing and rapping instead of just talking. And the idea is sometimes, just like when I have to give the examples, sometimes some of these thoughts are better expressed in a different medium. What this means is this is the space side. And, I don't understand how people can occupy so many thoughts in a single space, but if you focus on the actions, then the actions are the things that's going to really, really tell you what's going on. And it's all right, get a little hard, but I just want to prepare you. But it's really what we're doing is we're trying to learn the actions of the thoughts as we process them. In other words, I'm trying to document my process. If this was the work world, career fields, I'm trying to document my procedures. What do I do step by step? And then again, some people can't even think about themselves enough to do it. And then some people will be super basic and generic. I think that the super basic and generic is the best way to go. Do what you've been taught, which is the rudimentary work. If I have a thought and I'm feeling a certain way, you got to start with What's the first feeling? What's the second feeling? What's the third feeling? Just give yourself that structure. Give yourself that idea to attach to right now because it's happening right now. So if you give yourself something right now and then it leaves that right now because, again, thinking and giving can be combined into one, X and Y and X, M, K is lots of ways to say I got one thing as two. Child, green, green, blue and yellow makes green. So again, it's just the in between. Excuse me. Anyways, as you do these in between, oh, look, you get to make choices and decisions. The decisions start to manifest because, again, they become real. So here is you saying, I'm going to provide the structure of opportunity. I'm on one pathway, but I give myself a couple of options to look around and see. So boom, I got the full pentacle picture. I can see 360. Really can't see 360, but you can project 360s and you can see what you can see from that point. And that is this card. And boom, once you project what you can see what falls away. The Five of Pentacles. You go from the Ace to the Five. And what you're looking at is the second topic I was thinking about doing my meditation and visualization. The second thing is finances. So for me, it's like I've been afraid. I have a fear. And I've been afraid to do what I've done before at points in times where I was successful. But I came to a new conclusion with this time that I'm in. So I had that understanding before, and then now a new understanding is being brought in. Normally, this new understanding is something that's been denied, but I think not right now. Again, in other nouns where this card has came out, it's always been somebody denying. Four of Cups, denial. I'm focused, I'm good, I got what I got, I'm happy, I'm okay. And then guess what? Come in with something, now I'm good. But this time, I think you're accepting this newness. And then when you accept the newness, what happens? Boom, you get the Seven of Potions. So now you realize what new comes with confusion. This is the third thing I wanted to talk about, but I would never talk about this on this channel because it's irrelevant. But guess what? I'm going to talk about it on this channel because it's relevant now. So in this time, it's relevant. When I thought about it at a previous time, it wasn't. But when I thought about it before, it still happened to grow over time to the point to now we reach the second space. And now you see me comparing both times now? That's the difference. That's slope. That is what change is. And this is how you use slope in real life. Because life is changing forward and backwards. And guess what? That is what you're doing with these cups. It's 7 cups here. One of them is the right cup. 6 of them are not. How are you going to figure it out? Well, that's where this card comes in. You're going to figure it out based upon what your heart and feelings say. You become the vector again. Not the vector, the vertex. But again, essentially it's a vector too. That's really what it is. But for the basic understanding, you're a vertex. You're doing two things in two different directions. Again, two things in two different directions. Most people say, well, it's just a ray and a ray at a point. Well, again, that's why I said vector. A vector is a ray and a ray at a point, but a vector carries a scale and a magnitude. So it is a formula. It's like a standard. It's a thing that can be applied over and over and then related in different ways. Like the fact that we can count ones or count twos or count fours or count eights. Same thing is happening. We're counting. But the values or the outcomes change, and that is what we call a scale. Again, I can change on scale by doing the same thing. We just understand it as a simple pattern, and then that pattern that we all can recognize, the recognition of the pattern is called addition. Now, the rate at which we're adding, that can change because, again, people can see all kinds of patterns. So what are we actually adding at that point? You're adding 3 more dimensions later. It's not moving forward this way. It's moving in circles, not once, not twice, but 3 times. The reason why is because that's what you create with space. The simple fact that we have this vector in a single direction, the idea is that it is scalar for the simple fact that it has a change. But it is a vector with a magnitude because the magnitude is a description of some type of change. Magnitude this at this point right now is called that. And then magnitude 9, and then it might be magnitude at this point right now is called 6. So magnitude 9 and magnitude 6, those are two different things in time. But it's along the same timeline called like a Richter scale, or a Pokemon button, a Pokemon move in a video game. This is what you're doing over time. You're making these changes because you know how to take all of these differences. You can just sum them up as things over here that I love, things over here that I love to hate, things over here that I hate to love, things that over here that I don't know the opposite one, the last one, but y'all can figure it out. I always fuck it up myself. These are the things that I love. These are the things that I hate. These are the things that I love to hate. These are the things that I hate to love. There we go. There we go. And I can flip-flop. Sorry. Heads to tails. Same coin. But that's the 3. That's not the 2. That's the 3 card. That's where the 3 card comes in. That's why 3 things of time is important to understand. Exactly. Temperance. Something has to be doing the tempering. Ooh, notice the ing behind that. That is the you tempering a thought. That is the you tempering these jobs. That is the you tempering this understanding. That's you tempering these cups. And what you're actually doing, because this is this 6 of potions, you're tempering the past. You're tempering the present moment with the past. But what is the present moment? The present moment is not the present moment. The present moment is the future relative to the past. So I always say, have a future's past moment. Have a future's past moment. So, alright. Feeling like I need to get off of this. I think I'm going to do that. So, final messages for the peeps. Final messages for the peeps. We got a 3 and we got a 7. So, 2 odd numbers is telling me that you got some kind of odd decision out. This card, I feel like you have an odd decision to make relative to something about yourself, or are you thinking about something relative to yourself? And over here, it's the things that you see within that time frame within yourself. So you're looking to change perceptions about certain things. Like the fact that I just got a like or whatever, a notification on my phone, and then in that notification it had a location relative to it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can think of something negative associated with this card. This is the 8 of Needles. I feel like I should read this for us, and that's crazy. I didn't think to read no cards, no time throughout the day. But this time, the 8 of Needles, and that's why. Because it's not the 8, it's the 7. So I got to give y'all a different perspective now because, again, something about that 8 and how you be stuck and you got to make a decision is about to be, this is the solution to the stuckness, I guess. Whatever the 7 is, again, I think that, I don't know, you'll see. You'll see. So, because these aren't my words, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Here is the 8. The 8, okay? Being stuck, right? That's the 8. This is what the 8 was talking. This is what I was talking about. The 8. That's what I was talking about. But this is wrong. But this is the reason what I'm talking about is what I'm under. It's crazy. The same thing that happened earlier when I needed to give y'all an example. I just gave y'all an example. So that's crazy how I did that, but I'm able to realize it because I did it earlier. It popped up the same way, had the consciousness to recognize it, and boom, I'm coaching myself, and I'm giving you something way cooler because you get the instructional guide in between as I give you the actual movie. So it's like behind the scenes, as I'm doing this shit in real time for you, and it's like me doing a voiceover to my own life, but it's just for you to really understand like this moment that you just saw. So it's crazy how this is coming out, but hey, all right. So this is a futures past moment, is what this is all called. Futures past moment. I just described this with this card, right? So I didn't look at this card. I saw through this card, and that gave me this understanding here. But I want you to understand why when I looked at this card, it made me think this for you, especially in this situation, because now you can see yourself through three different details: the macro you, the micro you, and the you right now, projecting some other version of you right now. It's like your balanced avatar. It's the trio. It's the third of you. It's that in between. It's that point in between of this and that. That idea and that idea is the point of the middle called the vertex point. This card is upright. Seven of Needles often represents sneaky behavior. You need to play your cards right, or excuse me, play your cards close to your chest. If you're trying to solve a problem, think outside the box. Sometimes the obvious, conventional path, this way or that way, right? Sometimes that conventional path isn't the one that will take you where you want to go. Emphasis on the want to go, because the want is the desire. Again, you can choose to just stick to this page and that page, or you can choose to look at this and that page at lower level or a greater level. You can look at the relative change between that vertex point. It's still just one thing. It's you in the middle. But if you had to think about it this way, can you think about it that way? Well, if you can't say yes, then you got to go back to a different time frame where you didn't even know it exists and use that as your reference point. That first time, aka the number one. The first time you ever heard of it, I did not know that, versus damn, I know it now. Whatever that now right now is, you can find the difference between the two. And that's what you can do now, and that's what you're learning to do through this video. If you're here doing this right now, man, you are getting some gold, because this is, again, really, really helpful. It helps a lot of people already, but the idea is this is more people. I've never had a chance to have you in my classroom. We would have been looking at this in the classroom all the time, because this is what they're teaching you. You got to put the value on it. And I'm trying to give you some more sauce. I'm trying to give you some more value. I'm trying to make your chicken cutlet taste a lot better, because we got a bomb-ass sauce on there that make me say, Bagak. Bagak, nigga. This motherfucking chicken is Bob. That was some crazy shit. But anyways, I want to read this in reverse for you, so you can understand that if this card was this way, meaning if you can't see the potential way of solving the problem in an unconventional way, let's understand why. Notice, it went from being upright. This is the Y, or the numerator, what we think. But if we had to feel about it, it don't matter, it's just what it is. This space versus that space, don't matter, it's just a space. What would we say? Seven of Needles shows up reversed when it's time to face the truth. You know it's better to be honest with yourself in the long run. Why would they say the long run? Why would there be anything called long versus short? Why would they have a difference? If there's no difference, why is there a difference in time? It takes me a smaller amount of time to go a short distance than it does to go a long distance. Simple. Acknowledging the reality and working through it will benefit you in the end. Be brave. If you don't know you're doing something, acknowledge it now. Give it some birth. Don't let it be a thought. Just do it. Try it. Ask the girl out, man. Oh, if don't work? Oh, I'm sorry, it's a misunderstanding. Oh, no? Have a good day. Really, no, have a good life is what I tend to say. Goodbye, have a good life then. Well, not with the dating, but whenever I try to when I know somebody been not the best towards me, I just be like, okay. And then I just be like, have a good life when it's time to go. And, they'd probably be like, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what they think. But then when it be like for real, rest of life, they'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah, man. Words matter. And these things matter. So that's why it's important to put a name on something, put a stamp on something, put a stamp on an experience, and then look back at it at a different point in time. And guess what? You can do that, but you gotta have some intelligence behind it the more time that comes in between. Why? Because you need to use the structures that's provided for change. It's there. It's there. You've been taught it. You've been shown it. You've been living it. You do it every fucking day. Every fucking day. So it's like, why not try to understand what God gave you? Why not try to understand these cool ass things about you, these things your teachers tried to teach you, these things that help people understand you, and these things that help you understand yourself? Why not take the time to, appreciate yourself? Why not take the time to really try to understand yourself, to find more appreciation about the self that you loving on? Why not understand these conflicts? Okay, they're just conflicts because there's one person out. This one person is going to create a solution, and then one of them is going to like the solution more than the other, and eventually there will be another dynamical change with an open space, and that's just, again, this way versus that way. We don't have the hypotenuse just yet, and the hypotenuse is changing. Again, now I'm giving you a new leg to work with, right? That's because you got the formula. So the next formula is the next formula would be, because I ain't about to sit here and do that again. It's been over an hour. But the next formula would be Pythagoras' theorem, but it's not Pythagoras' theorem. It's just this theorem. Let's just call it that, because Africa had it, and then if you got pyramids in other places have it. And if you if you've grown doing farming or any kind of fucking making of tools, way before civilization was really, really popping, guess what? It's the same fucking Pythagoras theorem. So I'm sure they wasn't calling it no math equation. They were just doing what they know how to do. Everybody know how to do it. Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. Everybody is already doing it. So keep on doing it, man. That's all I gotta say. Keep on doing that shit. Keep on doing it. Oh, and here's another thing I wanted to talk about. I'm so happy for the people who come back, because I feel like, man, we got 56 subscribers. That's a whole bunch to me. The most I ever had has been 70 and on YouTube. I only had 70 between both accounts. It's been all three accounts, we can kind of say. Less than 150. And so that's crazy to me, but I know it's just because I've been inconsistent over time. But I've had a ton of efforts. And the only reason why I can put a plural on that is because it's the same thing. It's still just effort, but because I put an S on there, you used to think that it was just different efforts, but you understand now that each of those efforts has its own value. Every single one of those efforts is at a different time, and every single time you look at that effort, you can see something different. That is the coolest thing about creating your life, especially when you got the ability to take those mischievous thoughts and create something new with them. You can take those things in the past and understand them into the future in a brand new way. You can understand, like, you know, if you used to be fearful of having all eyes on you, now realizing that, damn, ain't no way they can't keep their eyes on you. They just like everybody else. Shit. It's nothing special, even though it felt that way because you didn't want it and it was given to you and you didn't like what was given to you. So the idea is now you know how to take those pesky little thoughts and you can transform them to something brand new. Something brand. That means it's new to the newness. It's a new way to the new way. You gotta really appreciate that squared, baby. Because again, that squared or that exponential, it's showing you that it's moving at a different frequency, different rate, but it's still changing. It's a different kind of effort. So let's look at the intensities behind our workouts and let's pay attention to the breath changes, okay? The respiratory changes of those different things called intensities. And then make sure you find the intensity within your own soul by checking out our products. Again, just find the link at the bottom in the description page. Again, bring some beautiful gifts to yourself. Again, some knowledge that'll help you understand what I'm bringing to you. And be the light of your own life, man. This is the Six of Candles. Be victorious in your world by continuing to learn how to create the world that you feel comfortable with. And it's not that it's not without discomfort. You just got a different point of view about the discomfort, and you just realize that you can be comfortable being uncomfortable, but then you can be more uncomfortable catching your negative thoughts and then transmuting them. So go find some power in that. If you need some inspiration, Soul just definitely, she got the way. Soul has the way to go. She did it already. So go follow Soul. She'll definitely help you out. All right. I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Oh, those are my fingers. Peace. It's getting dark.